Watterson family might be the dumbest family on the entirety of TV, which is about as shocking as saying that the sky is blue, which is why today we're going to be looking at some of their dumbest moments and ranking them by the brain cells involved in each moment. And trust me, by the end of this video, we're going to reach levels of stupidity that honestly shouldn't even be humanly possible. And we're not starting very high at 100 brain cells. Yeah, this video is going to be crazy. The first moment we're looking at is in the episode The Outside, where the Wattersons go to meet Frankie, the oldest Watterson and Richard's dad. Nicole is wary about meeting him because he's notorious for breaking the law. In fact, the first time Richard had seen him in 30 years, he tried to steal the house from him. However, when they meet him, they see that he's basically got nothing in his house, and it's not even a house, it's a trailer. Or at least what's left of one. They come to the conclusion that when Frankie left Richard all those years ago, he actually went to prison, and the reason why he lives like this is because he misses prison. Now, this is already a pretty strange conclusion to come to, since it's obvious he lives like this because he's poor. But where it gets really stupid is when they basically try to kidnap Frankie and trap him in their house, which they've basically turned into a prison. Frankie obviously hates this, but even while he's crying on the floor, the family is completely oblivious and thinks he absolutely loves it. In fact, Frankie actually ended up preferring the real jail to the Watterson household.
Selling the moon to senior citizens, eh? You're going to prison.
No rent, free food, why not?
So this was pretty dumb, but not as dumb as what happens in the next episode that we're going to talk about, the remote. And the moment we're going to be talking about here is just super dumb. In this episode, the Watterson family each want to watch their shows that are on tonight. However, all of their shows happen at the same time, which means only one of them gets to watch it. Richard wants to watch Telenueve, Nicole wants to watch her game show, Anais wants to watch Daisy the Donkey, and the boys want to watch Cutie Pets. So each of them rush to the remote, but realize that Richard has it hidden from everyone else. Nicole goes to buy her own remote and asks Anais for the model, while Gumball and Darwin try to retrieve the remote from Richard. Eventually, they realize that Richard's been sitting on the remote. However, when they go to check it, it seems to be gone, but Richard is sure that he hid it there. They go to Anais, who has the remote and destroys it in front of them, but they find out that Nicole has a duplicate, and so they go to get it from her. After a huge fight, they find out that Nicole has stupidly bought a garage door remote instead of the TV remote for some reason, which is pretty dumb if you ask me, especially coming from one of the smarter characters. But it's not quite as dumb as the next moment, the final episode in the 100 brain cell category, so it's only going downhill after this one. And the episode we're going to be talking about is the spoiler. In it, Gumball and Darwin want to see a new movie called The Screaming, but they don't have any money, so they're about to steal some from Anais, but she has protected her piggy bank from the thieves. However, she's willing to give money to the boys on the one condition that they bring her to the movies. The thing is, The Screaming is rated R, so she definitely can't come. And Gumball tells her that he's just gonna wait a week until their mom gives him his allowance. The time comes, and Gumball has been avoiding spoilers for a whole week. But when he goes into the theater, he sees that there's a mysterious lump inside of his bag. It's then revealed that Anais has been sitting in the bag, trying to catch a glimpse of the movie herself. But the real stupidity comes when she takes out a camera to try to watch the movie on her own. She doesn't think there's anything wrong with this for some reason, until Larry busts in and tells them that piracy is a federal offense. It's uncommon we see Anais do something stupid, but this is one of those rare times. But it only gets so much worse from here, because now we're moving on to 6-7 brain cells, starting in the pizza, where the family get back from work and they declare it's the worst day ever. Now, you may think they have a valid reason to be upset, but if you've watched this far, you know these reasons are gonna be really dumb. Firstly, Richard is upset because he wanted to get a burger from Joyful Burger, but Larry wouldn't let him. Seems reasonable, but then you realize he's already eaten a dozen burgers before ordering, so Larry says he can't do it, and instead of being a man about it, he rips his shirt off and drinks the condiment straight from the bottle and spits the straw wrappers onto Larry. Nicole is mad because Larry billed Nicole for $100 for the repairs. He did on their car. So just like Richard, she has a massive, unreasonable, and most importantly, stupid crash out over this. In fact, this crash out is so stupid, causing her bill to be even higher. And I think you get the point. And the reason that Gumball, Darwin, and Anais are upset is because they didn't like the movies that the DVD store had, which caused them to spoil every movie that the customers were excited to see, which ruined Larry's business. Now, with the other episodes, there's a bunch of mild or stupid things that makes it really dumb. But in the next episode, there are somehow even dumber moments. In the car, Gumball and Darwin want to help out with Mr. Robinson's house. Mr. Robinson gives them a bunch of chores to do, like mowing the lawn, painting the fence, and cleaning the house. However, they're able to do all these tasks in seconds, and are desperate to do more. Mr. Robinson has nothing else for the boys to do, so they suggest that they could clean the car, which after some convincing, Mr. Robinson allows. But as soon as Gumball touches the car with the sponge, it completely breaks down. This causes them to hide out in the attic in order to avoid the consequences of their actions. Now, so far, there hasn't been anything too dumb, because they couldn't have known that the car would break down. But we're just getting started, because it was revealed that the reason the car broke down so easily is because Richard electrocuted himself and slammed into Mr. Robinson's car, and to try to buff it out, Richard, like an idiot, beats the door with a hammer, and he breaks it even further trying to put it together. But this still isn't the dumbest thing to happen in this episode, because Nicole was backing her car out without looking, causing her to back in and subsequently destroy Mr. Robinson's car. The Unfollow is the final episode in the 6-7 brain cell category, and in this episode, Gumball and Darwin notice that their biggest fan, Sarah, has stopped creepily stalking them like she used to do. She seems absolutely glued to her phone now, and this somehow makes Gumball and Darwin upset, despite them being completely weirded out by her behavior before. The situation gets extremely dumb when Gumball and Darwin try to gain Sarah's attention back. To do this, they must take her attention from her new obsession, Saggy-kun, and try every stupid method in the book. They try adding more drama, changing their animation style, changing their gender, but by far, the most stupid idea is when they become Skibbity Toilet. If you don't think that's dumb, I mean, just look at it. I think this placement is very much justified. But now, let's lower the brain cells a bit more and go down to 42 brain cells. And the first moment is in the episode The Fridge. In this episode, Nicole has created a chart on the fridge because she wants the Wattersons to achieve higher things. She asks each member of the family what they've done for the weekend. Darwin learned the mating call of a mockingbird, Richard created the sausage pen, and Anais discovered a new strain of bacteria.
I got a science award for discovering a new form of bacteria in the fridge. Sir! Ma'am! Mom!
However, when Nicole asks Gumball what he accomplished, he didn't do anything over the course of the week, which makes Nicole put him at the bottom of the chart. Nicole then takes Gumball at the dead of the night to train him on becoming a winner by doing crazy and dangerous things, like carrying Nicole across a flight of stairs, standing on top of a roof holding a golf club during a thunderstorm, and stranding Gumball in the desert. This makes Gumball extremely mad at Nicole, so he demands that she get rid of the chart. Nicole says she will if Gumball beats Nicole in paintball. Eventually, he corners Nicole and tells her how much the chart has been ruining the family's lives. Nicole says she understands and lets Gumball win, until she tries to shoot Gumball in the back, which doesn't work.
Thanks, Mom. Did you just try and shoot me in the back? No?
Gumball wins and gets rid of the chart. The reason why this is on the dumbest moments list is because Nicole is so oblivious and dumb in this episode. Like, she doesn't even care that her whole family is suffering. But now, let's move on to the next moment in the gripes. And this is a good one. It starts with Gumball waking up super depressed for absolutely no reason, despite the day being completely normal and them not even having school. He just seems to be super down. Gumball complains about almost everything, from their food, to their video games, to their clothes. Eventually, this gets so bad that even Darwin gets super mad and depressed. They leave the house sulking and rip their clothes in anger, which makes them cold, so Darwin wears trash bags, and Gumball just keeps his ripped clothes. This makes all the passerbys think that he's homeless, and so they're about to donate them a huge check. Instead of being honest and smart, they decide to keep up the ruse, and as soon as they figure out that they're not homeless, they take out their pitchforks and are about to destroy destroy them. This makes the boys intentionally destroy their house, letting rats and roaches infest, tearing the walls and breaking the windows, all in order for the citizens not to kill them. They could have easily just came clean and not have to do all of this, but they had to be dumb and greedy, which is why this moment is on the list. But now let's look at the moment in the stars. And unlike all the other episodes we've looked at, the dumb moment in this episode happens at the beginning. So Richard goes to Larry's barbershop and asks him for a trim. The only problem is that Richard has no hair. Richard is absolutely offended by this comment, stating that he does have hair. But when Larry checks, there's just one singular strand left. Larry surprisingly is able to perfectly cut this strand of hair, but this doesn't satisfy Richard, who is still upset by the bald comment, or gets Gumball to write the bad review.
The key to a good online review is to take out all the frustration you have in your life on someone who totally doesn't deserve it.
Despite the review being a completely stupid lie, Larry gives Richard the cut for free. The stupidest thing by far in this episode, however, is when Larry is about to end the world with his star app. But all Richard had to do to stop him is admit that he's bald, and he can't do that. The cope is absolutely real. But if these moments weren't stupid enough, now we're bumping it down to 21 brain cells. And the first moment is in the episode The Nuisance. In this episode, the Wattersons act so stupid, even Donald Trump looks smart, which is saying something. This episode starts with the Wattersons thinking that they've been invited to an event to celebrate them, but they're actually being brainwashed. The Wattersons realize that they can't keep acting stupid and actually reform for the better. Surprising, right? Well, when they realize that they're still gonna get brainwashed, they quit the normal act and act even more stupid than they did before. I mean, they literally blew up multiple houses. The box is up next. And in this episode, Gumball and the family receive a box from an anonymous source that isn't addressed to him. However, they decide to take it in and fantasize about what's inside the box. But all their dreams are really stupid. Gumball thinks there's a portal gun inside the box and dreams about how much he would use it. He uses it for almost every basic daily activity, but he uses it way too much to the point that it destroys his body as he starts to merge with whatever goes into the portal with him. So he tries to use this to his benefit by merging with a cockroach. If you thought this was stupid, Nicole's dream is even worse, as she believes that the box contains a bunch of money, but the money actually is a tracker that an assassin uses and tries to find the Watterson family. However, Nicole doesn't care at all that their life will be in constant danger because she is so enamored with the money. Finally, Richard thinks that the box contains a key to unlocking 100% of his brain, which Anais quickly knocks down because 100% of nothing is still nothing, and Richard's brain is literally nothing, so all of the Wattersons' ideas are completely stupid. But if you've been watching this far, you probably aren't that surprised. Our next moment is in The Limit, and this episode has every single Watterson acting dumb. It starts with the kids begging Nicole for candy at the store, but she isn't budging. Despite her repeatedly saying no, the kids really needed that candy bar, so they kept complaining, which still doesn't convince Nicole. So the kids get on the floor and start having a huge temper tantrum, which makes Nicole banish them to the car. But don't worry, it's only gonna get stupider from here, because after Gumball, Darwin, Anais, and even Richard try multiple different ways to trick Nicole, like making a bunch of fat people tackle her, making Richard stand up too, and probably the most messed up and stupid idea, literally breaking Nicole's back. Except that wasn't the most stupid idea in this episode, as Richard got the bright idea to steal the chocolate bar, which sets off the alarm. Despite Nicole being pretty level-headed, this entire episode probably does the stupidest thing when she turns into a monster and starts chasing the family down. Now, out of all of the stupid things done in this episode, nearly killing your family because they wanted a chocolate bar is definitely at the top of the list. But honestly, there's just been too many brain cells in these moments, so let's take it down all the way to 13 brain cells. Starting with our first moment in Irresponsible. Nicole decides to keep Gumball and Darwin in charge of the house and Anais. They say that they can be responsible, and the parents leave. This is a huge mistake. Immediately as they leave, Gumball and Darwin start acting like complete morons towards Anais, using a leash to drag her around the park, chewing up and spitting her food like a bird, and destroying the TV. When they destroy the TV, it catches fire, and instead of using a fire hydrant, they use water, which conducts electricity and gets them electrocuted. However, Anais is not completely innocent in this, because she also does some pretty dumb things. The biggest being her not switching off the water in the bathtub, which completely floods the house and destroys everything inside of it. Our next moment is in the spoon. In this episode, Richard forgets to buy something for Nicole's birthday, so he sends Gumball and Darwin out to the gas station, alone, in the night, to buy a gift. Now, this is already extremely stupid, and it's made worse by the fact that Gumball and Darwin are only 12 and 10. But this episode gets a whole lot dumber. Gumball and Darwin get a gift card, but they come across a robber stealing all the money inside of the cash register. They are initially suspicious, but when the robber sarcastically says that he's a charity worker, Gumball and Darwin immediately buy it.
Are you robbing the store?
Nah, I'm collecting for charity.
Whoa!
And then follow everything the robber says. He even makes them find all the money in the safe so that he can quote-unquote donate it. Gumball and Darwin are oblivious to the extremely obvious criminal, and so they fall for it like fools. The cherry on top of this pile of stupidity is that the robber threatens everybody with a spoon. But now, let's look at our final moment for the 13 brain cell tier in the episode The Oracle. In this episode, Gumball, Darwin, and Anais go to the Bananas family yard sale, where they sell different trinkets and knickknacks, but most of them are complete junk, like Banana Bob's ski mask. Who would want that? But the trio eventually stumble upon Barbara Banana's paintings. She's selling different paintings of what appears to be different adventures that the kids have gone through, which sets off huge alarm bells because Barbara wasn't there during any of those events. So how could she have made such an accurate painting? And more importantly, the dates of the paintings are way before the actual events happened. The kids start to think that Banana Barbara can paint the future, but just then they catch a glimpse of a painting that hasn't happened yet, of Gumball ripping off all his clothes in the middle of a mall. Gumball tries his best to avoid the situation from happening. However, Nicole forces him to go to the mall to do clothes shopping because he's been wearing the same clothes for years. When he goes to the mall, a series of unfortunate events happen, which lead to Gumball being right in the position where the painting happens, the only difference being that he's not naked. But then he pulls what has to be the stupidest move so far and rips his clothes off on his own. The reason I say this is the stupidest by far is because Gumball literally has zero reason to do what he just did. At least for the people before, there have been some excuses you can make, but here, there's absolutely none. The only reason this isn't higher is because it's kind of implied he has no choice, because it was painted by Barbara, but it's still incredibly stupid. But now, let's turn it down all the way to one brain cell bouncing around in their head. And the first moment we're gonna look at to represent this is in the menu. In this episode, Gumball and Darwin talk about a secret burger on the Joyful Burger menu, which leads to Richard rushing through the streets of Elmore to kindly inquire about what this is. Gumball tells Richard about the secret burger, which only a select few can eat, and it's so exclusive that barely anybody knows the name of it. Richard tries to figure everything out about what this burger is, and by that, I mean he gets Gumball and Darwin to work their way up from fry cooks to CEO of Joyful Burger, but they still can't find the name. So they kidnap Larry and force him to tell the kids about the burger. He reveals that the only way to get the burger is to eat from every Joyful Burger location in Elmore in under an hour. Now, here's where the characters in the episode get really dumb, because there is literally a Joyful Burger for every street in Elmore, meaning that Richard has to eat 30 plus burgers in under an hour. Richard literally almost dies while doing this challenge, while Gumball and Darwin tell him to keep going. Bear in mind, all of this pain and suffering that they went through is for a greasy, mid-looking burger. Yet, all the Wattersons seem fine with Richard nearly dying for it. But our next moment is in the prank. In it, Gumball and Darwin get into a prank war with Richard after spraying a ketchup bottle on Richard because he added salt into Gumball cereal. This is already pretty stupid, but as the war goes on, the pranks just get stupider and stupider. First, Richard tries to trick Gumball and Darwin into wearing shoes which have baked beans inside of them, which leads Richard to return the shoes, only for Larry to deny him a refund because of said baked beans, and trying to prove Larry wrong, Richard wears the shoes with the baked beans inside. Now, if you thought that was stupid, it only gets stupider as when Gumball and Darwin find Richard listening to a tape about how to get better at pranks, they switch it and replace it with their own tape. What does this tape say? Well, it tells Richard to take his clothes off and go on the top of the roof and start slapping himself while pretending to be a ballerina ballerina. The stupidest part about this is that Richard actually does it all. Even when Gumball says that he's being pranked, he still follows the tape's instructions, which is to go down the chimney. More dumb things like this occur, like Gumball tricking Richard into falling for his own trap, and the brothers pushing Richard into the ocean. But by far, the dumbest thing in this episode is when Richard is trying to get back at Gumball and Darwin. He nearly dropped cement on their heads because he poured the cement mixture thinking it would stay liquid. So he nearly killed both his children over something extremely dumb. But next, let's look at the moment in the sidekick. And in this episode, Gumball and Darwin are trying to play their video game, which is supposed to be a Mario-esque game. However, they gave the game to Tobias, who hasn't returned it yet, so they have to play the game in real life, with Gumball using the controller and Darwin being the character. This doesn't work at all, so they ask Tobias for the game back, which he keeps forgetting over and over again. This leads Gumball and Darwin on a mission to get their game back, but this time, Darwin wants to be the leader of the mission because he thinks he's just Gumball's shadow. Gumball doesn't allow this though, leading to Darwin leaving Gumball trapped in Tobias's basement. You might be thinking that this is already pretty stupid, but it gets a whole lot dumber after Gumball leaves Darwin in charge. Darwin asks for some advice as to where he should start, and Gumball tells Darwin to steal something from Tobias that they can hold for ransom. Instead of taking something normal, Darwin steals Tobias's mom. He literally kidnaps his mom for a video game. If that's not one of the dumbest moments in the entire show, I don't know what is. But now we're on to the truly most brain-dead moments in Gumball history, in the -5 brain cell category. And the copycats is up first. In the episode, the Watterson family are at the mall, and when Gumball and Darwin are in the canned food section, they find Chi-Chi and Ribbit, two brothers who look extremely similar to them. They say the exact same things that Gumball and Darwin say, in the exact same spot that they said it, with the exact same cadence. Gumball and Darwin are completely weirded out when they see them, and tell their family, who doesn't seem to think it's a big deal until they find out that they're basically a replica of the Watterson family. They look up the family on the internet and see that they're basically just ripping them off. The family are really angry, but instead of sending a cease and desist like normal people, they try endangering their lives so that the copycat family dies. This gets to the point where Richard literally gives away his kidney, but it doesn't work.
What? They gave him my kidney?
So then they decide to do the stupidest thing and drive a truck off a bridge. This doesn't work, and the Wattersons want to get out of the truck, which is very hard until Anais saves the day. This is by far the stupidest thing we've seen so far, and the only reason this isn't lower is because it ends up with the copycats dying. So I guess they got what they wanted. But now let's look at our next moment in the money. In this episode, Gumball and the family go to Joyful Burger to get lunch, but when Nicole buys food with her debit card, it gets declined. She has no idea why this is happening, but they soon find out that Richard has converted all of their money into gold and threw it into the ocean.
Like I said, I put it offshore. But not before converting it into gold.
This makes her absolutely mad out of her mind, but she eventually calms down and grapples with the fact that they're now broke. But that's not the dumb part, because Larry actually gives them the opportunity to make all their money back. They just have to star in a Joyful Burger commercial. But then Gumball pulls out this 0 IQ move and decides that they don't want to do that, because they're not sellouts. Then this results in them losing their food, their house, and even their world, which literally starts crumbling in front of them. What makes this especially stupid though is that they go out like this because Gumball believes they shouldn't sell out, but as soon as he sees the paycheck, all of that goes out the window. But now let's move on to the final moment in this video. The finale fittingly contains the final and dumbest moment, and in this episode, the Watterson family's actions come back to haunt them, with every single person they've wronged up to this point coming back at them with either criminal charges or a lawsuit. Instead of going out with a plan, the boys go out and try to fix their problems. How, you may ask? Well, with a little bit of fraud, which lands them in jail. The girls try to reason with each of the members of the public they've wronged, but they also land in jail after breaking a restraining order. But now here's where the real stupidity comes, because they decide that the only way to get out of their situation is by breaking out of prison and causing the most mayhem that they've ever done. This includes causing fires, destroying the school, and even creating a kaiju fight. This was so stupid, in fact, that the entire city cornered them, and they were literally about to kill them.
The only thing that can save us is reality being
Well, those were the absolute dumbest moments in Gumball. If I missed any, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure to like and most importantly, subscribe. And if you're still here, click the video on screen. I'm sure you'll love it.